Hello everyone, today I am bringing you Rakdos Midrange. So this deck's a little funny to me because I've been trying to make red-black midrange decks work for as long as I can remember in Magic, and they never do. They're always just bad. But this one isn't, which was surprising. I think if I had to name the one card that makes the difference and makes this deck good, it is Rixmadi Reveler. One thing about red black is they often have tools to generate card advantage. Things like, I don't know, just black draw spells like Read the Bones or Sign in Blood or things like that. But they don't usually have. Those cards are clunky and often sorcery speed, and they don't usually have card selection at. They don't have efficient card selection and card advantage cards all at once. It has something going wrong with it. Whereas this card contributes to the board and acts as card selection, and so even though these decks are prone to flooding out, we don't have to, which is really, really powerful. The second most important card for making this strategy work when it usually doesn't is probably Kitesail Freebooter, because again, it actually contributes to the board. It's a creature that does something, and also disrupts the opponent's hand, and so unlike something like Duress, which you could main deck, but it's just a dead card against a lot of people, at least Kitesail Freebooter does something. One of the matchups where you would least like to have Duress is against Mono Blue, because if you play a Duress and you brick, you're going to feel really stupid, and you're really far behind. Kitesail Freebooter is one of your best cards there, because a 1-2 flyer is more than good enough against a lot of their deck. The rest of the deck is pretty simple. It's just value cards like Midnight Reaper and Ravenous Chupacabra, removal like Lava Coil, Cast Down, and Bedevil, and efficient or resilient threats in the form of Spawn of Mayhem and Rekindling Phoenix. Finally, we have kind of our end game, win the game cards. We have Karn, who generates a lot of card advantage, Angrath, who does the same. This card has gotten a lot better in the rise of Hydroid Krasis. Being able to kill their Krasis and hit them for 1,000,000 damage while leaving a Planeswalker behind is definitely worth 5 mana. And then finally, Siege Gang Commander is sort of the board stall breaker. This deck is going to stall out some amount of boards with our big creatures like this, or our value creatures like Ravenous Chupacabra. And then a thing that makes a lot of bodies, but also threatens potentially 8 damage to the opponent's face is no joke. So this card's actually quite good. In the sideboard, we get all of my favorite black sideboard cards like Duress and Moment of Craving, also Cry of the Carnarium. I've been running into more creature decks in the last few days, so I'm definitely glad to have this around. I'm considering going up to 3. Legion Warboss and Karn are against slower, more controlling decks. We want to be able to board in more threats as we board out our removal. Direfleet Daredevil, also good against those controlling decks. We can nab a Chemister's Insight, or even just an Opt for ourselves while contributing to the board. This is also just good against creature decks. Being able to put down a 2/1 First Strike is surprisingly good. And the last card is Tetsamok Primal Death. This card is interesting. It's sort of like what I talked about with Siege Gang Commander, against Sultai, if the board starts stalling out, sometimes this is just Plague Wind on a 6/6, and it's the best card you've ever cast. Other times, it's just kind of clunky and not helpful as you're getting run over, so I see why there's only one in the deck, and if I'm being perfectly honest, it probably shouldn't be here, because it's too clunky, but I want to play with the giant Elder Dinosaur, so that's it for the deck tech. I'll go ahead and hop into the games. Okay, first match with Rakdos Midrange. Yeah, this hand is sweet. Early interaction, hand disruption, card selection to help hit our land drops for our big endgame spells. This hand needs lands, but it can do a lot even without them, and has the tools to find more, so. I'm going to 6, that's always a good sign. In the dark, I'm just going to play the Blood Crypt tapped. I'm not going to pay 2 life, or opt into paying 2 life by playing the Mountain to keep up Carnival. If they play a Llanowar Elves, I will wish I had played differently. Alright, this is a scenario where Kitesail Freebooter is the best, unless they have double Curious Obsession. They do not. The thing that they have is a wizard, so I'm actually going to take Wizard's Retort so that they can't counter my stuff. See, like now they can't attack, and I took their spell, so they're just kind of stuck. Alright, here I'm going to play a Rixmati Reveler, probably ditching the Siege Gang Commander. I would really like to find land 3, both to set up our later game's plays and to have Carnival up this turn. Basically, I want to get something going here. Oh my gosh. Come on. Because we are currently winning by a lot, I think, but we are threatening to not be winning anymore. Basically, at any moment, if they draw and play a Curious Obsession, we're sunk. Oh god, they have it, don't they? Yep. Oh my god. I hate mono blue. This deck is so incredibly frustrating. Every one of their cards just says, don't interact with me, I won't allow it. And, oh, that's so miserable to play against. Like, we even had the ideal start for their ideal start, but we bricked on a land even though we had the tools to look for it, and they drew their best card. Oh. Yeah, and like, if we'd drawn our third land, we would have carnivaled this, so the Curious Obsession wouldn't have even worked. Blech. Oh well. Let's see what we can do to win from here. Unfortunately, we can't really do either of these this turn, so we're not going to be using our mana efficiently, even though we hit the land drop. I'm trying to figure out what the best way is to kill this, because we definitely do have to kill this. If they drew into a Wizard's Retort already, then we're going to feel dumb, but I don't know if there's any way to play around that. I'm just going to do this right now, give them the fewest chances to draw into it. Draw it. Like, technically we're winning the race, so that's something. Like, we've got a little more damage on board, and, like, this can burn them out to end. But Tempest Djinn usually has something to say about that. Wow, really? Okay, I almost mentioned that blink of an eye on their own creature wasn't really an option anymore because they lose their Curious Obsession, but they must be really concerned about keeping Siren Stormtamer around. Well, now suddenly I think we're in a great spot. I thought for sure they had... Because, like, they've got 3 more Wizard's Retorts, probably, like, 4 Dive Down / Spell Pierce. Like, they just had a million cards left in their deck that screw us there, but... Alright. Just gonna go ahead and take this out now if I can. If they use one of their protection spells to protect this here, and I draw a black source, then I can just Chupacabra it. Nope. Okay. Now this is a slightly awkward spot, because I want to play my land to try and get up to Siege Gang Commander, but I also want to play the Rixmati here, like just normally, but its loot effect is not optional, so if I play this, I have to ditch one of my cards. So I'm actually just gonna pass here. Like, it kind of sucks. I wish I had something else, or I wish I could be guaranteed to draw into a black source off of this, or something, but... Okay, that's rough. Land. Okay. That'll do. We are going to take some amount of damage here. But now, especially if I can draw into a land next turn, I can Siege Gang to shoot down the Storm Tamer, and then Chupacabra to kill the Djinn. And then we'll be in really good shape. It's a close game, either way. Please don't have another Djinn. It's the worst possible thing that could happen to us here. Which is, of course, what they have. And we did not draw another land. Oh man, I praised Rick's Mighty Reveler, but they've been incredibly awkward this game. Let's see. Okay, it's prompting me on that, so I will target this. I haven't actually activated Siege Gang Commander in Arena, so I didn't know exactly how this would work, but they need to have, like, Dive Down in their hand to mess me up over this, but I'm perfectly willing to play around that. Or play into that. Okay, cool. So now that's handled, so unless they have something good, and they clearly don't have a Dive Down, they'd have to, like, draw into it, or draw into the third Storm Tamer. Chupacabra should be able to handle this, so unless they have, like, their third Djinn or third Storm Tamer, I think we're okay. And even if they have the Storm Tamer, if we draw into a land, we can run back what I wanted to do last turn. Siege Gang Commander, quite good this game. There are not a lot of cards that could have played that like they did, like it was able to there. Salamander, sure. They have 2, so this costs 6 to activate. Oh, please don't have a counterspell. Our draws have not been helpful this game. These have been, like... Oh my gosh. Wow. Alright. GG's, I guess. Man, I really thought we had that game at multiple points, but they had it all. Alright, so what cards are terrible? Karn is slow and doesn't do anything. Midnight Reaper is, like, not... This isn't how we're playing this game. That's not how you win here. I think Cry is pretty good. Tetsamok is probably actually okay here. And, like, a Moment of Craving. I'm always torn between wanting Duress to try to nab Curious Obsession and Duress being blank. Like, half the time. They've got, like, 16 non-creature spells or something. And we've already got 4 Kite Sail Freebooters. On the play, Freebooter is definitely just better. On the draw, I could see wanting to switch to Duress, so we can Duress on 1 and hit any possible Curious Obsessions. Basically, in this matchup, I just wish I had 4 Carnival Carnage. The Carnage have not great, but they always have X1s. That's also part of what makes Mono Blue really frustrating, though, is you play all these anti-X1 cards because half of their deck is creatures that are 1/1s, but Curious Obsession pushes it out of that range, so, like, you saw our Carnival went from the perfect card to not good with 1 top deck from them. And also, they just play their 9/4s for 3 mana, and you can't beat that with Carnival Carnage. Oh well. Yeah, this is the matchup more than anything where I really wish I were playing Jund, because I could just have 4 Crawl Harpooner in my sideboard, and that is the best card ever against these decks. Like, I've been playing a lot of green-black type strategies recently, whether Sultai or, like, the green-black aggro deck, and I can't describe how the matchup went from unwinnable to, wow, I win this, like, 70% of the time, just by getting a set of Crawl Harpooner in my deck. Alright, this is fine. Stop potential Curious Obsession, loot away probably each other to find me something better to do. 1 to 6 again, but that's fine. They draw out of mulligans pretty easily. Would love to have a Carnival Carnage here to stop a possible 1-drop. It's like, they do this, and if they have double Curious Obsession, nothing I do matters here. We're just sunk. They do not, so that's progress. This guy isn't a wizard. No, okay. I think it's like just Styron Stormtamer that's a wizard. I don't think they play. Or Merfolk Trickster's a wizard too. Oh my god! Oh my gosh. I can't believe my opponent isn't mythic yet. They are obviously the best mono blue player in the world. Oh. Wow, that's depressing. Alright, well. Rixmati, find us something to do. Putting away the other one. Land is not something to do. Still won't attack because I want to be able to block this. We have a couple turns, technically, to kill this before it really puts the game away, but this is kind of it. Like, they are so far ahead. Alright, one last complaint, and then I'm done. I think people complain about hexproof a lot, but unblockable is 10 times more obnoxious. Because, like, most of the colors in Magic are don't really care about hexproof in a given scenario. Most of white's removal doesn't really target. They have more like wraths and stuff like that. Green doesn't really target your creatures. Blue interacts on the stack. It doesn't really target your creatures much. Every color plays creatures to try and block. Like, this screws over every possible deck except like really hard control decks that can't do this. And like, creature combat is the only part of Magic that is inherently interactive, that like the way it's designed has interaction baked in because of blocking, and this just removes that. Just says, nope, there is no way to build your deck so that you can block this creature. You can put flying creatures in your deck, you can, I don't know, even with like Intimidate, you could put the right color creatures or artifact creatures in your deck. This just, nope, we're just gonna sit here and lose. Alright, done complaining. Siren Stormtamer. We could still do Cry of the Carnarium, but the game's like mostly out of reach, I think. I'm actually gonna steal the Stormtamer here so that point removal spells become live. Looks like they probably have some sort of counter here. Nope. Depending on how this goes, we might end up just, like, racing them. They need to do something here. Does that dive down? Sure. Send them to 2 spells. Still nowhere near activating. Yeah. I should probably just have 4 Cry of the Carnarium in my deck so I don't have to lose to mono blue anymore. But that is not a change that can be made yet. Okay, they don't get to draw this turn. Unfortunately, they still attacked, so they get to keep their Curious Obsession, but I don't know. Angrath denying them a draw, gaining me 2 life, effectively, and eating a dive down is good enough for me. Let's run it back. What do they have here? Why didn't they play this Pteramander? Because they still only have 2 cards here, so this costs 6. So they, like, can't activate their Pteramander. I can't imagine what needs 5 mana. Okay, smart. Six mana, okay, so they can activate Pteramander now. That's bad news. If they attack Pteramander, okay, Tempest Djinn, that's also quite bad news. Cry of the Carnarium, like, not good enough anymore. Alright. I'll pack it in. That was a rough match, but we're gonna turn it around. We're gonna do better next time. Alright, second match with Rakdos Midrange. Playing first, good sign. Great opening hand. Carnival Carnage, like, sneaky synergy with Spawn of Mayhem, because On turn 4, you could just play the spawn anyway, but being able to go removal spell into 4/4 flying trample on turn 4 without any board is, like, really powerful. I think here I actually should have played the Swamp to leave up Carnival, because we don't have anything set up to do on turn 2, and so even if they don't do anything, I can still play the Blood Crypt tapped next turn. A small mistake there. Yeah, I might get punished for it. Yeah, I am gonna get punished for it. That's a little rough. Oh well, I'm still gonna do this. Just slow them down. Well, that's a little scary. We have a lot of hard removal in our decks, so we can probably get rid of this. Yeah, like, he can get rid of that eventually, but... Just gonna play the Midnight Reaper. If we had a real discard spell, like Drill Bit, that could take a potential Jade Light, yep. Oh my gosh. These games are not going well. Oh, that is the worst possible thing to see. No attacks. Weird. Why are they concerned about their own life total here? Well, Mr. Landrop. Okay, they just, like, don't have anything going on. Alright. Well, that said, they're still gonna beat us up with this Hostage Taker. We'll see what they choose to take here. Yeah, okay. Still no attacks. This opponent's being very cautious. Land! Okay, we got the land, now what? Oh, I wish I could kill this Hostage Taker, get this back. Now, I think we're gonna get buried. I think our best hope is to just play a bunch of flyers and try to race them. Yeah. Right, there's Angrath. Now here, this is actually good for us, because they either block and we get our Angrath back, or they don't block and we get in a bunch of damage and we get to play Spawn of Mayhem. Huh. I'm trying to think what the best way to do this is. I think it is to play the Spawn. If they want to play Vivian and downtick on Spawn, then Carnival can actually pick off Vivian. I think they might get punished here for how very passively they've been playing this game. Like, if I were at 9 from them hitting me with this Wild Growth Walker a bunch, we'd be in a much worse spot. I'm gonna go ahead and block there, save as much life as possible, and also draw a card. I'm just gonna use my mana as efficiently as I can. Oh, she only goes down to 2. I'm dumb. Oh god. Yeah, I just threw away a card there. For some reason I thought she downticked down to 1. We're a little flooded here, but we still might be in it. We got a couple cards off of Midnight Reaper here, I think. Yeah, we had 2 creatures die. Yeah, like, if I could be sniping this, that would be really helpful. Ugh. That is also quite rough. Huh? I think it might be too little too late. Yeah, like, if they draw basically anything at all, we're kind of dead here. Because right on board, we're going to 1. Technically, we're advantaged, I guess. They're swinging at Angrath. I'm gonna block the Hostage Taker. That's the more valuable card for them to get back with, like, a Find finality. But we have... Oh. Well, we're not advantaged anymore. I think this is the better play. Wow. We, like, totally were coming back there. If they didn't draw that, like, be able to hit them for 4 into draw 3 cards because they, like, weren't threatening lethal once we had that guy out. Damn. That's rough. Alright. Bring in good grindy cards. I don't think they have enough targets for Daredevil to be good. And, like, the Legion Warboss tokens don't really attack. So we don't really have a lot to board. I think overall we should just be favored in this matchup. Maybe cut, like, a Kitesail Freebooter. Maybe, like, 1 Spawn of Mayhem. Since a creature that just dies to removal isn't really where we want to be at, but it's still a good threat. Maybe that game's, like, a little different if I hadn't wasted the Carnival Carnage. I don't know, though. Like, I think the difference might have been we were at a little more life, and then we still just lose to Carnage Tyrant. This time I'm going to play an untapped land on 1. Carnival, a potential Llanowar Elves into Freebooter. I would like some Rix Mahdi Revelers here. We got a lot of 4s, and we kind of really need to hit those. The rest, sure. It's a good draw. Need another red for these Phoenixes, but that's fine. Huh. Hey, cast down, I guess. Negate, like, not especially good against us here. Interesting that they took the Karn when they had a negate ready. Huh. This is kind of weird since this card is so good, but I want to get this, Rix Mahdi... Crap! That is the worst possible draw. Our man has not been cooperating. I wonder if this deck needs some Rakdos Guild Gates. But yeah, I want to still have Carnival around because they're going to play this Jade Light Ranger, and then with the Explore trigger on the stack, I can take it out. So now no matter what they reveal, yeah, it would have gotten bigger, but we can still keep the pressure on. Red land, please. Oh my gosh. Oh. Oh boy. Got what? 15 red? Yeah, I mean, that's enough. Like, it's not like we're not playing enough red sources to play this card. That's, like, not quite enough if this cost 1 RR, but it's plenty for a 2 RR card. Yep, sure. Oh boy. Wow! And their draw was a Disdainful Stroke? Oh my gosh, that's so incredibly bad. I think we're dead. I think this Hostage Taker and the Carnage Tyrant are gonna be too much. Like, maybe if they just burn yeah, they're gonna burn Hostage Taker really aggressively, so maybe if we draw red soon, we can close the game with these Phoenixes. Oh. Yeah, there's no way we're coming back from this. Oh boy. Okay, third match. Gonna try to bring it back. I'm gonna keep this hand just because of the Revelers being able to loot us into better stuff. Memorial to Genius. Well, this is probably a very slow control deck. Yeah, they're off to a good start. Rickspotty Revelers, there's a few too many of you. Luckily, we know that Ravenous Chupacabra is probably very bad here. Oh boy. Oh dear. Okay, land is good. Okay, blue and green, this is probably a Wilderness Reclamation deck. Let's try to make sure that doesn't happen. Yeah. Okay, so this is like a blue-green flash, I guess. That is really obnoxious, and I wish that weren't happening to me, but... Okay. Just gonna go ahead and attack here. If they want to block with a Frilled Mystic, that is more than fine by me. Yep, I figured they'd jump at the chance to eat literally anything with this. They need to start getting cards in their graveyard, so they might want to, like, trade this off. Wow. Alright. Man, discard spells are terrible. It's just like 2 mana, look at the top card on your opponent's deck. Let's see here. All they have up is drawing a bunch of cards, so we're gonna get to stick a Phoenix here. Oh, I should have attacked with this too. I'm totally fine with trading there. Yep, draw your cards. Huh. Did they not scry? It felt really fast. What do I know? Like, this is so bad for us here, because, yeah, they get to play this as a 4/4, and that's bad, but there's, like, no way we're resolving Angrath, whereas normally that would be the weakness of blue-green. We could resolve this and mess them up. So, if I were really greedy, I could go for Rickspotty Reveler into Spawn of Mayhem here. I'm just gonna go for the Phoenix. Like, they probably have a counter, but... No? Well, they're up a lot of cards, but that alone will not save them from this. Yep, another big Hydroid Crisis. They probably have a counter. We're still missing on land 5. This is probably the end, because it's too big for these to fight through. Well, they can still just smash into it every turn, but that's, like, not really good. Oh, are they gonna Nexus me? Yep. Oh, boy. Too bad I don't play best of 1. Then we wouldn't have to worry about that anymore. But luckily, we get sideboard cards. This deck looks like it has a fair amount of creatures here, so, like, Duress and Kitesail Freebooter aren't just game over, but yeah, I'm willing to call it there. That's good enough, opponent. Yeah, them drawing the second Wilderness Reclamation was the game. I think we beat them pretty easily there if they don't have that. Alright, Lava Coil sucks. Carnival's okay, just for the Carnage half, so I'm gonna hold on to that. We could probably trim a bit more removal, so I'll go down like the cast downs. Get some Duresses in here. Probably just a Karn. No. We're gonna cut the Karns, because he's slow and doesn't really affect the board, and we're gonna bring in the War Bosses. We're gonna try to beat them down. Because their deck is really good at getting a mana advantage, and it's really good at interacting on the stack. It is not very good at affecting the board. Like, they really need Hydroid Crisis to be big enough, and that's all they need. Like, if we attempt to go wide around them, they're gonna have a lot of trouble dealing with that. Here we're going to be on the play, and hopefully we aren't going to miss land drops, and hopefully don't get Wilderness Reclamationed into the ground. Play first. Ugh. This hand is rough. I don't think that's good enough. Especially, the deal breaker for me was that we didn't have double red. So, like, even if we draw into a lot of our best cards, we're flooded and we still can't draw into anything that matters. Boarding in Root Snare against me, really. Like, I showed that my deck was pretty slow, I think. Right? They just have double Frilled Mystic, which is admittedly absolutely awful for me. Like, it is going to be really hard to fight through those. Well, I'll be able to sneak a spawn through, so that's nice. As long as they don't draw into some other kind of counter. Maybe they'll tap out for something else silly. Oh, they can't cast Frilled Mystic here. Wow, that's really awkward for them. Arch of Araska, not free. Yeah, and this is like, that stumble is like incredibly bad for them. Because now the onus is on them to do something. Like, I'm winning the game by a lot. And, if they do something, I'm just gonna get to blightning their cards away. I'm assuming they'll pitch one of their non-Frilled Mystic cards here. Yeah, they got rid of the Frilled Mystic. I think? I'm not quite clear what happened there. Because they had Arch of Araska, Frilled Mystic in hand. It looked like they discarded a Nexus of Fate, and now I can't see their cards anymore. I think they have Arch Frilled Mystic in hand, so I'm not going to play this, but that was really weird. It's like when it shuffled their deck, it shuffled their hand, so I don't get to see anymore. I don't know. That was super odd. Yeah, okay. Alright. I'm glad we won the game. That was just a really weird bug. I think we keep everything the same. This might be too much of this because they have so many creatures, but, like, the cards that I really want to get rid of are non-creatures, so I'm okay with whiffing some percentage of the time if it means I get to keep them off Wilderness Reclamation and Search for Azcanta and Nexus of Fate. I don't think this hand's good enough. This hand's, like, also not good enough, but we're already on 6, so hopefully there's, like, a Duress or a Freebooter on top. That is not good enough. Alright. Oh my gosh. This is why Black Raid Midrange is never good enough. Just, yep. That's exactly what we didn't want to see. And we draw a mix of lands and more 3-drops. Basically, we hope that they have, like, nothing here, and Legion Warboss can win the game on its own. Oh, Freebooter. You're so close to being on time, but you're just not. I'm gonna play the Warboss. Oh god, do they have, like, a Quench? No? Okay. But, yeah. It would be nice to take, like, a Wilderness Reclamation, but if I Freebooter and see, like, Wilderness Reclamation plus double Frilled Mystic, I'm just kind of screwed in that game. Like, I don't have the ability to come back. Alright, here I'm going to pre-combat play a Midnight Reaper, because if they have a Frilled Mystic, they can take it, whatever. I don't want to attack my Legion Warboss into a Frilled Mystic, so, yeah. This way I knew... Basically, if they had a Frilled Mystic, I didn't want to attack my guy into it, and this way I knew that the attack with Legion Warboss was safe. Also, even if they had, like, incredible discipline and didn't counter this with the Frilled Mystic, if they then flashed it in to block Legion Warboss, then I get a card off of the exchange. So now, unless they, like, Reclamation into start taking all the turns, I think we're actually going to be okay. We're way ahead on board, applying a ton of pressure, and we get to disrupt their hand next turn. Yeah, I assumed we were getting fogged here, and that's fine. Now they don't have Frilled Mystic up, so I can do this. Let's look what you got. I'm going to take Nexus of Fate. Then here, I'm going to Reveler. I'm going to ditch this mountain because we don't really need land 6 in our deck. If we draw Duress, that would be pretty great. Alright, like, they're on track to take another turn, but this isn't transforming this turn, and they don't have... they don't even have, like, a Wilderness Reclamation going, so this is just Explore. Are they dead on board? I assume so. 8, 11, 12, plus 2 more, so yeah. We are threatening Xaxes. Sure. This is why I don't really love the Simic versions of this. Okay. Did you draw into Nexus of Fate as your last card? That'd be pretty spectacular. But, like, they've got fogs and stuff, but they don't have any good ways to affect the board. Like, they can't use that Nexus of Fate to steal 1 extra turn and then wrath my board. Like... For kicks, we can look at their hand. Yep, kind of bricked. I hate what Legion Warboss does to the all-attack button. Oh well. Okay, so, we got one. Thank goodness. Oh man, those first 2 matches were awful. But, we brought it back. The deck isn't perfect, but it's got some really powerful stuff going for it when things work out right. So, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, I would love it if you could subscribe to the YouTube channel. It helps make sure you see all our videos and helps other people find the stuff. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.